afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. I wanted to talk a little bit about nursing. For those out there that are looking for nursing or anything of that sort. When you are looking for nursing, the big thing I want to point out first, I have a notebook here so I can keep my thoughts straight so I don't go off on a tangent like I usually do. But the big thing about nursing, the first big thing about nursing, is you need to tell the nurses for your child exactly what you want. Because if you don't say specifically and exactly what you want, then they're going to do whatever they feel or whatever they were trained to do. Sometimes they don't even do what they were trained to do. They just do what they feel is like right or whatever. But that's another tangent that I want to go on a different day. Not today. Now, I do want to say we did get a new nurse. She is a good nurse. She is a good person. She just has a lot going on in her life right now, which makes her a little bit unreliable. But we are working on it, and she has been doing better since I talked to her. So, and she has promised me that she'll do better in the future. So, we are working on it now. Because she has a lot going on in her life, so I'm giving her a little bit of a grace. Now, the last two nurses we've had have been horrible. And they've been, I don't want to make an allegation, say they were abusing Carolyn, but they were not being nice to Carolyn, and they were hurting her. Okay? So, Carolyn fought back with one of them, and the other one, Carolyn, I don't know if she thought it was normal or she was like, well, she's nice to me most of the time. I don't know what she was thinking. But let me tell you some things about one. I'm going to call her Nurse 1. And this girl, actually, you know what? I'm going to call her Nurse J. This is what I'm going to call her. Nurse J. Nurse J, these are the things that she has done that I absolutely hated. There's a little backstory to some of them. This video, by the way, is going to be a little bit long. So, set me up on your counter, do some chores, play me in the background. I don't care. But, yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a long video. Just let you know. Okay, so, number 1. She left Carolyn in her wheelchair with an exposed staircase. What I mean by that, if you don't know what I mean, is our staircase does not have a door. It's just open. There's no gate on it or anything like that. She left Carolyn in her wheelchair rolling around. My daughter has no thought of danger because she's autistic. And so she doesn't really understand if, like, there's stairs, if I go down these, I'm going to die. Like, she doesn't have that, sense of danger in her mind. And it gets so funny because it's not funny, but when I say that, I think of Inside Out. If you guys have seen that movie, I think of Inside Out, and the fear, the guy, the purple fear guy, he's just like down there. My daughter's fine. So I just think it's kind of funny to think about it, but it's not funny because she just doesn't have a sense of fear, and anyways, so that's one thing. And she just left her, and that was 2 times, and she just left her. And me and my husband both went out there the 2 times that happened, and we're like, where the hell is Nurse J? She's not here. Where is she at? I don't know. Anyways, she came out of the bathroom one time, and the other time she was like by the laundry room. I don't know what she was doing there. I don't know. Anyways, because there's no reason for her to be over there. Number 2. Okay, I wrote a little something. rinse out suction catheter every time you suction her. If you don't, okay, so she didn't rinse it out every single time. If you don't rinse the suction catheter out, you can push mucus or crusties back into your child. Back into your child. Like if they have a trach, you can push it back into your child, which can cause plugs. It can cause bacterials, and things like that, and it's not good, period. It can cause infections, it can cause bacteria infections, it can cause plugs, it can cause just a whole bunch of nasty stuff that you just don't want to deal with, and I promise you, you don't want to deal with it. My daughter has had it all, so just please, 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 please rinse your suction catheter out after you use it, whether it's a free catheter or an inline catheter. Please, please, please rinse it out. Whether you're using straight water or saline bullets, you can use regular water if you want to. Some people, they use the saline bullets in the side port of the inline catheters, and if you have an inline catheter, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't worry about it. And you can use the saline bullets if you want to, but you can also use regular water if you wanted to too. 3. Carolyn has muscle weakness, so sitting her down on the floor to change her diaper if she ends up going up in her diaper. Okay, so when you put Carolyn down to change her diaper, if you're putting her in a diaper, because we have been potty training her, you need to support her head while you're going down, or support her body while you're putting her down on the floor. Now, when you're putting her down on the floor, you can't just set her down, because her head will go back and bounce off the floor. You don't want to do that. You have to support her head or support her body, or tell her, or sit her down on the ground and put her and hold her hands and say, we're going back, we're going back, we're going back, and tell her what you're doing. That way she knows to gently put her head down. Sometimes she'll just fall back and you're like, oh, don't do that. Her head could snap back, which could cause whiplash. It could cause her to bump her head, which she already has brain damage. And she doesn't need it anymore. So, Nurse J, and this is what broke the camel's back, and we ended up, this is when we ended up, we're like, no more. So, we had a water tester come over and test our water, because they were doing something with the sewage plant, or the sewage by our house, and they wanted to know we were okay. So they were testing our water, and the water tester said, hey, I don't know who that girl was. I'm assuming a nurse or something for your daughter. We're like, yeah. And she's like, I don't know if you noticed this or if this was okay, but your daughter's head bounced off the ground when she set her down to do her diaper. And we're like, what? So when a third party says something like that and they're concerned, it's a concern. It breaks my heart. Okay. Do not yell at her. She doesn't respond to that. Okay, so I've had 2 different nurses actually do this. One was a temporary nurse, and this one actually this hurt my heart, and I snapped Carolyn away, and I took her to a different room. And this was a temporary nurse, so I don't think she knew. But she didn't like to talk to Carolyn like a human being, and she was actually, she wouldn't tell Carolyn what she was doing. And she was trying to change Carolyn's diaper, not telling Carolyn what she was doing. And she snatched a bear that Carolyn was holding away from her, started changing her diaper. And Carolyn started crying. She goes, stop crying. I'm changing your diaper. And I said, that's okay. I'm just gonna call her so and so. That's okay, Miss So and so. I'll do it. It's okay. I think you're getting a little frustrated. It's fine. Carolyn, sometimes she wiggles. Blah blah blah. Dirty diaper. Okay, come on, Carolyn. Picked her up. Got her bear from Miss So and so. I went in the other room. I gave Carolyn her bear, and she's looking at me. I said, "It's not your fault, honey. It's okay." I said, "She just got a little frustrated. She's having a little bit of a bad day. It's okay. It's not your fault. You're okay. It's all right." And I took her in the other room. I took her to my office. I kind of was rocking her in my chair, and we were doing spinnies and in my office chair. And I just told her, I said, "It's okay, honey. It's not your fault." I said, "She was just having a little bit of a bad day. It's okay." So I just kind of explained to her, it's not your fault. Another time this happened was with Nurse J. Nurse J was sectioning her. So I asked her 3 times. I said, "I think Carolyn needs suction." She was in the back here. I said, "I think Carolyn needs suction." She goes, "No, she's just happy." Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. And then I'm like, and then I hear her again. That's what she sounds like. And I'm like, man, junkie monkey back there. No, she's fine. And I hear him. And then I hear that. And I'm like, "Jasmine, I need you to suction her." Oh, okay. Okay, my daughter's drowning in her mucus. So I'm like, "Jasmine, I need to suction her." She's like, "Okay. All right." So she suctions her. And I'm like pissed at this point. I'm like, all right. So she's suctioning her. "Carolyn, look at me." Like, she turned her head away because she was looking outside, like we've taught her to do a million times. "Carolyn, look at me." And I'm like, okay, we need to chill. And I would have gone off on her a little bit more because I'm outspoken. I don't think you try yelling at my child. I don't think twice about that. I was having a migraine, and I just said, "Okay, I think we all just need to chill out." And she's like, I'm chill. And I said, "Obviously not, because you just yelled at my daughter." "I didn't yell at her. I'm just being stern." And I said, "I think we all just need to chill out for a second. Don't yell at my daughter like that in front of me. Like, I don't go for that crap." Anyways. I can't. That just rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, do not yell at my daughter like that. I will try to yell at my daughter like that again. Slap something. Okay. The next things I'm going to talk about are annoyances. Those were like danger, like red flags. Please fire your nurse immediately if she doesn't like that. These are annoyances that just annoyed me and rubbed me the wrong way. And these are nothing to fire your nurses over, but maybe talk to them about it. And I'll explain that a little bit with each one. When you are done with your shift, you need to clean out the canister and hose to the suction machine. She has refused. Nurse J has refused to do it and said, "That's the night nurse's job." Like, no, it's not actually. It's every shift you are on, day shift, morning shift, day shift, night shift, doesn't matter. After every shift, you need to clean out the canister and hose. That was an annoyance. You can talk to the nurse about it. Usually they'll be like, "Oh, absolutely, like, I'll change it, don't worry about it." Now some nurses don't know, like, some nurses don't know, because if you do have multiple nurses, then they think, oh, they'll just do it. But technically you're supposed to clean it out after every shift. So just let them know if that's what you want. Like, hey, you need to, because then, you know, if you have a night nurse, they're gonna get pretty upset if they have to change it every time at the beginning of and the end of their shift every day. They're gonna get a little bit annoyed with that. So just make sure that you are aware of what's going on there, and just, you know, if you talk to them, they should be able to change that and be like, oh yeah. Don't ever hesitate to talk to your nurses either about something that you want, or something that you that you want them to change, or something like that. Even something as simple as that, like, hey, you know, if you could change the canister, you know, and rinse out the hose, or even change the hose after your shift every day, that would be great. Or if you guys do canisters and hoses, hey, could you rinse them out after every shift, and then I can talk to you about changing them twice a week, or not twice a week, sorry, every 2 weeks, or blah 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 blah. And what I have a whiteboard on my refrigerator, and it says every 2 weeks, and then it has, you know, change canister and hose, change, you know, change the hoses on vent, change, you know, whatever. Every other week, change out the humidifier, change out her tray, change her tray, blah 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 blah, you know. And then I have everyday things, change, you know, rinse out the canister and hose, change her tray ties, clean her teeth, you know, whatever. So I have a whiteboard that has all those things on there. That way the nurses know, and, you know, you can also reference that back too, because, you know, we have a lot on our minds. So, anyways, so that's just something that just really, you know, and the problem with Nurse J is that she said it wasn't her job, and I had asked her to do it, and she did it for like a day, and then she went back to her old ways. And that was the thing with everything. Like, we would ask her to do something, and she was really resilient about it, and she would do it, and she would do it for like a day, and then she would stop and not do it again. Okay, 7. Every time anybody, and I mean anybody, and I'm talking a nurse coming in to do a home visit, or like the RBT at ABA, or, you know, the guy that comes and gives us our medical supplies, or just anybody, therapy that comes into our house, anybody talked, she would interrupt and somehow would shift the conversation back to her, or her family, or mostly it was her brother. Sometimes it was about herself. Other times it had nothing to do with what we were talking about, like ADD on ecstasy. So what I mean by that, and I'll give you a couple examples. So when the conversation would go back to her family, she'd be like, oh yeah, my dad had something going on like that, blah 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 blah. One time it was like, Carolyn, I told her that Carolyn's, her spine is probably the weakest part of her body. And she's like, oh yeah, my dad has spina bifida and blah 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 blah. Why are you comparing your dad to Carolyn? Carolyn doesn't have spina bifida. I don't know. Anyways, and then everything was about her brother. She was infatuated, almost sickly infatuated with her brother. And it was one of her brothers, and her brother has autism. Very, very, very high functioning autistic kid. He's in college. He's in college for computer science. He's about to expire. He's about to graduate. She would compare him to Carolyn all the time. Carolyn is not high functioning autism. Please don't. They're not even equally the same. Then she tried to compare him to Trenton. and she questioned Trenton's intelligence. If you know Trenton, you do not do that. Trenton is probably the smartest person I know. He has a very, very, very high IQ. You don't question his intelligence, especially when he works as a director in IT. You don't say that a college student is smarter than him. That's stupid. Oh, my brother this, my brother that, he's smarter than you because I blah 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 blah, because he said blah 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 blah, and that's not what you're saying. And Trent's like, no, that's not what I'm saying, because that has nothing to do with blah 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 blah. Well, my brother said blah 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 blah. Well, I'm telling you that's wrong. Well, I'm gonna believe my brother because he blah 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 blah. Okay, stupid. Anywho, and Trent at that point he just walked by. So that was her brother's thing, and then herself. Oh my god. She asked me, and this is herself, and also had nothing to do with what we were talking about. So I said, she goes, how did your myotonic dystrophy doctor appointment go? I said, good, but they're telling me that my knees have gotten weaker, and my knee has been giving out on me a lot, and it's been hurting. Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about, because my knee's been hurting too. Do you know exactly what I'm talking about? Because do you have myotonic dystrophy? No? Okay, then shut up. Didn't even let me finish my freaking sentence. Like, I'm like, oh my god. Then one time we were talking about the spring and like the pollen and stuff, and then she said something about like one time it was winter, and the winter went so long I thought it was gonna be summer. Or I thought the winter was gonna go into summer. We weren't even talking about winter and summer. We were talking about spring and the pollen and allergies. And she would do that all the time. Like, she would talk, like, it's like something came in her mind and she just said it. And I was like, we weren't even talking about that. Were you even listening to what I was saying? She would do that all the time. And I'm like, well, we weren't even talking about that. Like, it was just, and like, I laugh about it now, but it was just, I'm like, are you freaking kidding? And it was funny because we would joke about it after she left. And I said, Trenton, when we get rid of her, we're gonna be laughing about this in the long run. It's gonna be so funny. Her hygiene was horrific. I had to be in my office or in T's office all day because I couldn't take it. Okay, so one time I thought that Shiva pooped in the house, and I was so pissed. I was like, Shiva, and I'm looking around to see if she pooped. And all of a sudden, she went by me, and I was like, and I went, oh, and I could not be by her. Like, her breath smelled bad, her hygiene was horrible, she always smelled like that. And she just was horrible. Her hair was always greasy, it looked really dirty. Like, I just couldn't take the sight of her. She smelled really bad. It would linger. I had to wash the car out every day with a microfiber cloth that was wet because she just smelled so bad. I would have to spray Febreze in here. I was awful. Really bad. Anyways, that was that. She would inject in doctor's appointments and therapy. Oh, let me tell you something about T. So I said T's office. I called my husband T. She started calling him T, and I was like, please don't call my husband T. That's my nickname for him. Please do not call him that. Like, his name is Trenton. He said he liked to be called Trenton. Because I think she had asked him one time, do you go by like Trent or Trenton? He said, I like to be called Trenton. He doesn't like to be called Trent. He likes to be called Trenton. Well, If I'm mad at him, I'll be like, Trent. But I normally call him T. Well, you don't call somebody a pet name, especially when they told you they prefer to be called Trenton. You don't call somebody by their pet name that their wife calls them. If, like, somebody was named Richard and their wife called him Rich, and they said, I prefer to be called Richard, and their wife called them Richie or whatever, I would not start calling them Richie. They're like, if they were like Richie, if their wife called them Richie, or their kids called them Richie, I wouldn't start calling him Richie. I would just call him Richard, because he literally told me he preferred Richard. Anyways, okay, so that was the other one. That was just a side note. She would interject herself and go. Okay, so in doctor's appointments, as if she knew Carolyn more than me, she thought she was Carolyn's mom, at least acted like she did. Okay, so she would interject in people. Okay, so this is a really quick one, because I don't really have an example right now, but she would inject herself in doctor's appointments as if she knew Carolyn, or as if she knew Carolyn, or as if she was Carolyn's mom more than me. And I hated that. And sometimes I wouldn't even get a word in, and I wouldn't be able to get the correct information, or I wouldn't be able to ask the correct information. Oh, Tesla's just pulled in. I better get out of here. But I wouldn't be able to get the correct information from the doctor, or be able to ask the questions I wanted to, and that just rubbed me the wrong way. She would compare Key to her brother all the time. I talked to you guys about that. Highly autistic functioning, college. I talked to you about that. Going back to her brother being in college for computer science, trying to tell Trenton, I talked to you guys about that. They were my own, and I guess I expect the nurse to do the same. Okay, so I used to be a nanny, professional nanny, and I watched the kid. When I watched the kids, I acted like they were my own kids. I treated the kids like they were my own. I gotta wrap up here because I gotta go in a second. I guess I expect the nurse. Sorry. Ooh. I guess I expect the nurses to do the same. Because I want someone that genuinely loves Carolyn. Someone who genuinely loves Carolyn. Someone who treats Carolyn like their own kid. Like it's their own kid. Someone who, genuinely loves her and genuinely wants to be with her, and is like, and tells people, this is like my second child, or this is like my seventh child. Someone who genuinely loves kids. Because if you're not, then why the heck are you in this profession? If you are getting things out to play with Key, then at the end of the day, please pick them up at the end of the day. If you are getting things out to play with Carolyn, please, for the love of the capital G-O-D, put them away. Please clean up after yourself and the kiddo, because that is your freaking job. Okay? Period. Don't leave it for the mom to do. She already has enough on her plate. Please pick up after yourself. If you're a nurse watching this, please pick up after yourself and the kid, because that is your job. If you're doing a routine, or if you take off, rinse it off, and you can leave it on a towel to dry. At that point, I can get it at the end of the day. If you have a nebulizer, you know darn well, if you are a nurse or a mom, you know darn well those things need to be taken off and rinsed off every single day, because they can become moldy. Take it off, rinse it off, and leave it on a towel. By the end, at the end of that, you can leave it on a towel and the mom will get it. I'm totally okay if nurses do it in the morning, they rinse it off, they leave it on a towel. I'll get it at the end of the day. Don't worry about it. Some moms might be like, I don't have time, like, can you just please put it back on, whatever. Night nurses, same thing, okay? Please do not wear shoes in the house. This is a big one because a lot of nurses do. Please do not wear shoes in the house. Key, my daughter, likes to chill on the floor. I can't even think of how many germs people bring in from their shoes. She said, okay, so Nurse J said her shoes were clean. But it was like, okay, but you just came from outside. And when she did take her shoes off for one day, they stink so bad. They were stinking so bad I couldn't even take it. Everything that she did, it would linger for like a couple days. It was so bad. It was so bad. Do I have any more? I think that's it. Yeah, so that was bad. I'm going to talk to you for a couple more minutes while I get this out. So those are just a couple things that I just didn't like. I was just, So if you are doing things like that, please, like, it's just a thing, like, you know, think about your house. Would you wear shoes in your house? Probably not. Especially kids that like to chill on the floor. Like, obviously, if a child's on the floor, don't wear your shoes in the house. One time, my mother actually had said something about it, and she was like, she had dirt on her shoes and she just stopped holding the house with them. Like, what the heck? And I was like, I don't know. And then, another thing I wanted to talk about. She would put her, so Nurse J would put her in a chair, put books around her. This is nothing that annoyed me. Put books around her and would just sit her in the chair and play on her phone. Don't do that. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to watch the child. One time she did it and she's playing on her phone, and me and my mom were having breakfast, and she literally almost fell off the chair. My mom had to run all the way from the kitchen to the living room when Nurse J was like 2 feet away from her, and my mom had to run all the way from the kitchen to the living room to catch her because she almost fell off the chair. She didn't, but she almost did, and Nurse J was like 2 freaking feet away from her. And she's like, I got it. Obviously you don't have it because my child almost just freaking fell on the floor and tumbled out of the chair with that. And then she would rip books and stuff, and it's like, she's like, she's in a ripping mood. No, she wouldn't rip her favorite books. The only reason why she's ripping her favorite books is because she was pointing out something. You probably didn't say it. You probably weren't paying attention to her. And now she's ripping so you can pay attention to her, so you can say something to her. That's why she was doing that. She'll do something for attention to get your attention. There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about. So I was playing with Carolyn. I was playing Tea Party with her, and we were making a pizza with Play-Doh. And Carolyn picked up the pizza piece with her fork and went to her mouth, and I went, nom, 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 nom. And then she put it down, and I said, so delicious. And then she picked up a cup and was like this, and I was like, gulp, 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 gulp. And I said, refreshing. And she was like smiling, like, you know, like she likes me, you know, making sounds and stuff. And so I said, okay, well, Miss J is gonna play with you because Mommy's gonna go make lunch. And she just looked at her. She didn't even play with her. Like, she didn't, like, it's like she didn't know how. Which is weird because she's always talked about playing with her niece and playing things with her niece and stuff like that. I don't know how old her niece is, but like, she always talked about playing with her and stuff like that, but she didn't know how to play Tea Party. Like, what the heck? That's what you play with all the little kids. Like, I don't understand how you don't know how to play Tea Party. And she saw me playing, or she heard me, I think, playing with her because she was on her phone, but she was sitting right there. She was standing right there. Like, how did you know, just make the noises that I make and she's happy. Like, I don't understand, like, you know, like, I don't know, get down to her level, you know, make pizza with her, do things with her. I don't understand why you can't just do that. Like, it's, I don't understand. And I did tell the nursing company, I need a mom. I need a mom. I want a mom. I need a mom for someone who's been a mom recently. So, anyway, that's my rant. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. So yeah, if you have any questions, comment, and I will try to comment back as fast as I can. I will try to look at the comments and comment back if you need extra help on those. I had a few people who commented on my last video that were not family that actually needed help and explanations, and I messaged them back and they were very happy about it. So if you need you know, if you need advice or you have questions, please let me know. I will try to comment you back as fast as possible. I will get back to you, I promise. It might be a week, but it will not be any longer than that, I promise. I will make sure I am looking for comments. But just let me know if you guys need any help. I would love to help you guys out. That's my goal in life, is to make it easier for you guys. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.